Yeah, against this right back, Charlie. That's right.
People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. Good afternoon if you're like me and you're in the UK. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night, depending on who you are, wherever you are on God's divine earth. I hope you're all doing well and safe. First things first, I hope you're all in good spirits. Obviously, the weeks are flying past, people, and it's the Premier League restart this week, but it is Thursday. I hope you're all having a week to remember. As usual, I hope it's a week where you're moving closer to your goals, hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and moving through whatever hurdles you find in your way at life at this moment in time. You know, hopefully you're doing all of them things. And as usual, wishing everybody listening fundamentally good health. Health is wealth. You ain't got good health, it doesn't matter what you aspire to. So yeah, big up everybody locked in, and I appreciate everybody who's tuned in right now. I appreciate everybody who was in my YouTube live stream. I don't even remember what time that was, but it wasn't the usual 11:30. It might have been 8, 9 o'clock in the morning UK time. You know, I've had a fantastic live stream exclusive to Twitch where we was with Curtis earlier. Shout out to everyone who was there. All these things will get uploaded on YouTube, but if you miss it, you know, you blink and you miss it. That's the aspect of Twitch. You lot gotta allow me, man. I know you lot support the YouTube, but if YouTube goes south, I had the epiphany one day. If YouTube goes south, if the platform locks off, we'll go on for my thing, people. Do you get it? So it's like, if you've got YouTube, if you've got Twitch, if you've got other things, then, you know, we're always surviving DG Nation. If YouTube goes down, I miss you guys. We're gone. We're lost in the matrix. You know, every time there's different countries in the live chat all the time, you know, people in Indonesia and Russia and everywhere. So I don't want to lose that. So yeah, again, there's going to be a lot of content on Twitch. I'm doing my best to notify you guys, but just make sure you're downloading Twitch, you're following on Twitch, you're doing all of those sort of things, man. I hope you're all doing well and safe, man. I hope everyone's well. Obviously, if you've got any comments and them things, get them in. Throughout the course of this live stream, I've copied and pasted what I believe are the key takeaways from the Athletics article where it spoke about the two men behind me, Maddison, Aouar, couple other players, goalkeepers and whatnot. Joe Willock's move looks like he's steadily progressing and he stands to sign a 6-year deal at Newcastle. So we'll speak about that. With it obviously being Arsenal versus Brentford tomorrow, it'd be a fantastic chance to, I guess, look at what Arteta has said about everything Arsenal and how he's looking at for the new season, because, you know, you can see how this goes south very quickly, or it can, you know, and I'm of the belief sometimes it can get worse before it gets better. So I hope that's not the case, but pre-season does worry you. Equally, if pre-season was going well and we beat everyone, I wouldn't get too excited. So like I said, I hope you're all doing well and safe. A man said, Under Armour really targeting man on Twitch, got to pattern up a sponsorship. Under Armour, if you're out there, shout me in it. I appreciate everybody locked in from everywhere. Shout to the Canadians and whatnot, and big up Toronto. And I love for tuning in. I appreciate that. Josh, you was the first comment I saw, so I appreciate that. I don't know if a poll is actually running. I tried to run a poll, people. Any moderators out there, can we get a poll going in relation to ODEGAARD or Maddison? Who would be better? I thought I set one where it said Joe Willock, you know, is letting him go as a bad signing or not? You know, Twitch lets you do those sort of things. Unfortunately, I don't think it's worked, innit? Maybe I should just play my position and just stick to making the content and not trying to be the technical done. But nonetheless, it is where it is, people. So yeah, man. Where's all my stuff? Shall I go for it now? A lot of you are going to ask me to go for it. A man said, how do you sub? That's where the Nightbot should come into it. So make sure you're subscribing via Amazon Prime if you've got it. There should be a button about sub or follow. All right, moderators, please update people. Like I said, I'm new to Twitch myself, my guy. I don't actually know, but where there's a will, there's a way, man. I'm sure when everyone arrives, somebody will help a guy out, man. One love to everybody locked in. Like I said, people. After this, people, at 6 p.m, I'll be going live with Mo. You know, Mo, who was on AFTV. Obviously, it is what it is. If you know, you know. But I'm going to get him on the show. I think he's a busy man. He's only got half an hour. So make sure you're getting in tune with looking on Twitch, because 6 p.m, we go again. Twitch marathon, man. Man said you need to stay in your pay grade like Chambers classic DG line. Now you can do in my own line, but you're right. Stay in my lane. You stay in your lane. You stay in your lane in life. Things get better, innit? Sometimes you have to play your position. You're right. I'm not the technical man. On paper, I should be, because I've got, you know, qualification in IT and that. Well, just at college, it's nothing major. But yeah, but nonetheless, you're right, man. You're right. let's just stick to being the content Donny, man, like you said. And shout out to everyone who's been following and stuff like that. You know, in the short space of time, we're now at 1.5k followers on Twitch. The journey to 5,000 continues, people. Let's make sure we're getting in the habit of you know, supporting the thing on Twitch and getting the message out there, man. We're same way we took over YouTube, we're gonna take over this thing, bro. It's true. Sometimes you got to stay in your pay grade, man. You got to play your position. But to be fair with you, you know, you got to try new things, man. Allow me, man. I tried. Let me share my screen with you guys, people. For those of you that obviously are locked in, let's get into all of this, people. You know, lucky for those who are in there, we'll start with the transfer news, really, because it's just bare paragraphs. I won't sit here and cap, but let me make that timestamp first. Obviously, where are we on? We're on 5:45. So let me share my screen and scroll up. Like I said, courtesy of The Athletic, I copied and pasted what I feel are relevant parts for you guys. You know, I've tried to minimize the jargons, but it is what it is. Hopefully you lot can see that. You know, I need to zoom in a bit more, but then it gets calam like this where I can barely see what's going on. But anyways, people, will hold it up. I can't lie, we can't hold it up. We need to zoom out a tiny bit. Allow me, folks. Let's actually go. Here goes. Make sure you're following and subscribing, like I said. But in relation to Arsenal's transfer news, you know, you are seeing the Athletic pieces come out, as I said. Apparently, the club has experienced difficulty moving on Granit Xhaka, Hector Bellerin, and Alexander Lacazette after a strong start to the window in which they signed 3 young talents, obviously with Tavares, Lokonga, and, you know, we spent 50 million on Ben White, who's also a good player. Since then, momentum has stalled. You know, we thought we was going to see, with exception to Ben White, you know, more players that are ready to impact right away. I'm not saying Tavares and Lokonga aren't, but they're still developing, as shown. The number one target, and again, this isn't word for word. What I mean by that is I've copied them, literally gone through the article and just tried to whittle it down to what actually matters and what's actually relevant, people. But apparently, the number one target throughout the summer has been Sheffield United's Aaron Ramsdale. Arteta and his coaching staff believe that Ramsdale could not only provide backup to Bernd Leno for the forthcoming season, but succeed him next summer. They admire his distribution, both with the ball in his hands and at his feet, and his bravery coming off his line for crosses, area in which doubts over Leno persist. I'm not going to lie. You know, I'm not going to lie. I don't necessarily see that watching Ramsdale. As I've said, watching Ramsdale, I don't have him down as being good at his feet. As I've said before, I think he's better than people giving him credit for, but I wouldn't have him down last season. When I'm thinking of ball playing keepers, he's not going to be a name that springs to mind. But as I said, when I've spoken about Ramsdale, where it doesn't look like it's happened, as long as you did your scouting and you done your due diligence and you saw how he can impact us at 23, what he looks like at 26, what he looks like beyond that, because he's 23 years of age, he's a baby as a goalkeeper, really. It is what it is. And the most promising thing is, if you've done your due diligence, we all know we don't really trust the recommendations that are coming in relation to being a goalkeeper or a goalkeeping coach at this club. But that is areas in which Leno fails to recognize. So I like that. I think one key area, I'm not saying Leno's not a leader. I'm not saying he doesn't shout, because that's not true. But I don't think he's vocal enough for a captain. And obviously Ramsdale is. So it's not going to, for a keeper, Ramsdale is. And he's not going to sign, but I do think that's something to look at as well. I don't think Leno's vocal enough. I'm not saying he's a silent mouse. I just don't think he's more lead by example sort of guy. And goalie, I don't need that, man. I need you to open your mouth. You know, even the most elegant of keeper, someone like Van der Sar, would open his mouth. That's what people forget. A key element about being a goalie, you know, open your mouth. Moving forward, it doesn't look like he's coming in. And for now, Leno is the number one. But carrying on with Ramsdale, as you lot have seen, it started to, you know, the fallout has happened. It looked like we was getting him. We're not signing him and all of these things. It is what it is. Negotiations have been ongoing since the start of last season, but without much success. The club met at Smith-Rowe House Hotel, which is obviously close to Arsenal's training ground, on Wednesday. Now, we did previously hear both parties met in Hertfordshire. It's now specifically been revealed where they obviously are. So they met up yesterday, hoping to find common ground, i.e. an agreement. Arsenal hope Sheffield United's willingness to meet in person indicated there would be some movement on their £35 million asking price. When Arsenal's improved verbal offer for 20 million plus considerable add-ons was rejected out of hand, Arsenal decided to pursue other targets. So a lot of people were against the signing of Ramsdale, which I'm not necessarily for it. I'm not against it. I wouldn't be buying him, but I'm not going to be up in arms. You know, I've seen us sign worse. Same way, what is concerning me, touch wood and touch all sorts of wood, pause. You're hoping nothing happens to Leno in true Arsenal fashion. We've seen Partey get a knock, which, you know, we've seen Gabriel get a knock. You're hoping no one else goes there. Something happens to Leno, we're in dangerous territory. You know, you have someone's got to swim in the deep end very quickly. You've got Arthur Okonkwo, who's a young, unpolished goalkeeper. And if I'm real, if you're making mistakes at Hibernian in pre-season, you're not ready for the Prem. You're definitely not ready to play against a championship side that are very street smart and significantly more experienced. So then you're left with Runnison. Now, yeah, the less said on Rinnison, the better. But moving forward, apparently when Arsenal's improved verbal offer of 20 million plus considerable add-ons was rejected out of hand, Arsenal decided to pursue other targets. Any slim hope of a deal being revived would be dependent on Sheffield United dramatically revising their position. So again, apparently Ramsdale was allegedly very disappointed that this is broken down. So again, I guess Arsenal are probably leaning on that fact. Ramsdale's probably got to make it clear he wants to leave. How prepared is he to burn a bridge there in that regard, or force through a move? He was left out of the cup yesterday, or the day before. I know the gaffer gave us the lazy excuse and said everybody gets an opportunity and all of these things, but could that be Ramsdale's future anything but decided? And obviously when you look at that, I don't know who, but we just have someone else might get involved and whatnot. Hopefully we look for other targets, because again, we're starting the season and we've got a very difficult start to the season where, again, hopefully nothing happens to Leno, but we definitely should not be going into the season without a backup keeper. Allegedly, Arsenal will now look elsewhere. While Ramsdale was envisioned as a future number one, their intention now is to secure a player regarded solely as backup as a considerably lower fee or even potentially on loan. Arsenal staff made discreet inquiries about the availability of West Brom's Sam Johnson. It's unlikely, however, that they will follow up with formal interest. Johnson does not fit the profile of a keeper they're looking for. As a member of the England squad, would still command a significant fee, with West Brom demanding more than 10 million. Again, copied and pasted to just mash it up and skip out certain jargon. Allegedly, Barcelona's 32-year-old Neto is a target, which, again, is kind of hypocritical because, again, you messed around Matt Ryan because you said you're looking for a homegrown talent. It didn't bang. So now you're looking at 32-year-old Neto. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot, really. And then I know he's only 32 for a keeper, but what's going to happen there? And even Neto, you're hearing he wants to leave Barcelona because he wants to be number one. I'm not going to begrudge anyone. If you earn the spot, you earn the spot. But, you know, it's almost like not learning from our mistakes. So it is what it is. Anything's better than nothing. But again, you don't want to get caught holding the bag and not being able to shift the player off. Neto is a target. The Brazilian moved to the Nou Camp from Valencia in 2019. As you know, he's actually represented by Kaya Jarupkin, who's obviously worked with certain signings in the past, the illustrious Willian, David Luiz, and Cedric. What a legacy that is. The close relationship that exists, I'm scrolling down, the close relationship that exists between Jarupkin and Edu could make a move for Neto expendant. Neto has been closely assessed by Arsenal's analysts, and there is a consensus that this could be a sensible solution to a relatively urgent problem. It leaves the club looking for a creative reinforcement, again, switching it up. Apparently, this is away from it, like I said, away from that and focusing on more attacking talent. Obviously, we're short-handed with failed move for people. Apparently, although both Real Madrid and ODEGAARD have spoken of the player as an important part of the plans at the Bernabeu, Arsenal are yet to give up on signing the man who began their summer as the number one target. It was ODEGAARD's insistence on playing regular first-team football that made a loan deal possible in January, and Arsenal still feel that if they are to land their man, it will require him to push for a move, which, for what it's worth, I've been already saying, and I actually believe Odegaard is I believe he's the easier one. I think we're just going to go on him. I don't think Maddison's going to happen, purely because for a number of factors around Real Madrid finances and what's going on with Odegaard's situation, I think we're going to see him. You know, you have more of a chance than him. I just say if you can do Odegaard and Aouar, then we can move forward. I would love Maddison, but it's probably a fallacy. Apparently, the familiar name of Houssem Aouar is once again being discussed behind closed doors at Arsenal. Despite lengthy talks last summer, Arsenal failed to agree a price with Lyon, instead turning to Thomas Partey. When January came around, Arsenal's interest had waned due to concerns raised in their scouting and background checks. So what sort of concerns? You know, we'd love to know. What are they? That seems to be the theme. There was concerns about Szoboszlai, concerns about Aouar, concerns about Buendia, no concerns about Willian, no concerns about the length of contract afforded to Willian, Kolasinac, Cedric. I don't know what's going on there, but allegedly the economic situation currently affecting French football, however, presents an opportunity. Even though some at the club harbor concerns over Aouar, there is a growing acceptance at around 25 million euros, he would represent an excellent market opportunity. Arsenal are even believed to have inquired about the possibility of taking him on loan. Banter, just buy the guy properly. You know, are we that broke that we're trying to get him on loan, commit to an outlay on Aouar, and then maybe have room to get a keeper or a right back or something else? I don't know. It just feels like you might as well go for him. But clearly, it comes down to how many targets do we actually have. Moving on, Arsenal have been linked with a move for James Maddison, but while the player does have admirers within the club, the Athletic understands he is not someone Arsenal are currently seriously pursuing at this time. You know, apparently, you know, intermediaries are believed to be keen to matchmake Arsenal because probably there's a little agent fee there with Maddison, given the club's obvious need for a creative midfielder. So far, however, the club do not appear ready to take the bait. It has been reported that the cost of the deal would be prohibitive, and while there are other factors at play, there is some truth in that. The contract Maddison signed with Leicester last year was reported by David Ornstein to be worth 110 thousand per week, and you'd imagine he'd earn more than that at Arsenal, to be brutally honest with you. Apparently, after a blockbuster move to a Big Six club, he would most likely expect a significant uplift. While Arsenal agreed a 50 million fee for White, his salary is understood to be relatively modest. Ramsdale too would not have been particularly a high earner. While Arsenal's owners are prepared to support Arteta with substantial transfer fees, there's been a definite attempt to balance the wage bill. You know, I understand that. It makes sense. Rance has raided my thing with his 808 crew, man. This guy, bro. Shout out Rance for that nonsense. But moving away from that and staying on it, obviously, it would make Maddison a very difficult buy, people, for obvious reasons, because, you know, committing to a mad outlay, not being able to afford him. And again, this is where you pay the mistake of committing to high wages. You know, you look at Lacazette for a year. You know, I'm not going to be the guy to turn on Aubameyang, but you've got Aubameyang. You know, you've still got Willian there, you've got Kolasinac, you've got a lot of those individuals, which obviously makes it very difficult. Moving away from that, people, if we're going beyond Odegaard and Aouar, apparently there is a list of creative targets beyond Odegaard and Aouar, but Arsenal will be reluctant to turn to them unless perhaps the season gets off to a particularly bad start. Plans in centre mid have been altered by the fact that Xhaka is now staying and set to sign a new deal. Great news, yay! At right back, they currently choose from 4 players with Callum Chambers, Bellerin, Cedric, and Maitland-Niles. Adding a 5th would lead the squad lopsided and imbalanced. Well, I mean, what's going on with Maitland-Niles? You wanted to play midfield. Are you forcing a move, or has something been said for you to stay at the club? I'm not too sure. Cedric, are you going to get an opportunity? Bellerin, it seemed like you're out. If you're looking at Brentford, based on what we're hearing, you might even start. And Callum Chambers is probably a lot of fans' favourites to take that role. If you have any confidence over any of them over a 38-game period, I'm not too sure myself, but fair play. We know Bellerin finds himself in catch-22. Apparently, Arteta does not want to lose him without a replacement, but Arsenal can only replace him if a buyer comes to the fore. Talks of a new contract allegedly are premature. Bellerin's preference is it remains to embrace a new challenge. We know that there was talk of a striker. Allegedly, the 2 North London clubs in Arsenal and Spurs were infused about the prospect of a deal for Martinez, but Inter's decision to sell Lukaku obviously has put a spanner in the works. And, you know, Arsenal have been linked with Tammy Abraham. He looks like he's going to Roma. And in true Arsenal fashion, allegedly, you know, again, Arsenal find themselves in a bind. They would like to add a forward, but only if they can find a taker for Lacazette. Roma themselves showed substantial interest in Lacazette last summer. So it's almost like not signing, when you sold Martinez, not signing the backup keeper. When you had an opportunity, not selling Maitland-Niles, and then you kept him and then loaned him out. You know, you had an opportunity to potentially shift Lacazette. Obviously, the dynamics change, but you get the point. You didn't do it. This is reactive, you know, very, very reactive, and you get what you pay for. Clearly, the club don't want to extend Lacazette's deal. Maybe his form might have persuaded people, as it would in football, but there's no coincidence. There's been no talk of a new deal beyond transfer gossip that he might sign a 1 year. The club don't want to give him a new deal. Maybe Lacazette doesn't. Apparently, Arsenal may attempt to persuade the Italian club to opt for the Frenchman instead. That would in turn free up Abraham for them. These are the moving parts that will make these final weeks of the transfer window a madness, really. And obviously, there's a merry-go-round. I don't really care for the merry-go-round. All that needs to matter is come the 31st of August / the 1st of September, whenever the window closes, you have addressed midfield. You have made an attempt to address the whole team, really. For me, midfield, I would like to see a right back, but it's not going to happen. But definitely a backup goalie, something in the middle. minimum, you know, striker. You're not going to get that, if I'm completely honest with you. So we'll have to see what happens and what develops in that regards, folks, man. It is what it is. Moving away from all of that, we'll get into the press conference shortly. But yeah, let me remove my screen. One love to everybody locked in, even the Raiders and all of those sort of things, man. All right, make sure you're following and that and all that good stuff. So yeah, man. Arteta's washed up. Harsh, man. Fair play. You're allowed an opinion. Appreciate you, Razza season. Why haven't they moved for Aouar? Apparently available a lot cheaper than last year too. There must be something that we don't know, a variable that we don't know. But boy, not a clue, man. So when something seems obvious, sometimes in true Arsenal fashion, they're not gonna do that, are they? Rants raided. Shout out to Rants for doing that. Shout out to the 888 Warriors for fucking all this. Bury you in it. Fair enough. Fair enough. At least give time for guys to write questions, man. Big up yourself, my guy. Another raid. Crazy, innit? I'm understanding it. To be fair, the first ever time it happened, did not have a clue what it was, man. But it's working now, man. Another raid. Another raid, nonetheless. Maddison better not come Arsenal or all his hair will be gone by January. To be fair, Lacazette, yeah, started getting stressed out. You got something to that, man. What's up with all these footballers' brothers, dads demanding under the table fees? Haaland, Aouar, hell, even Mbappe to an extent. His bros are definitely breaded. Everyone's got to eat, bro. I'll be real. The clubs do people dirty. There's peace for everyone to eat. I'll be real. Clubs do people dirty. So it makes sense to make a change. I'll be real with you. You know, I would want it as well. Because these clubs will try and little man you, but I get you. It makes it difficult. There are potential variables you don't always see with transfers. And to be fair to you, regardless of that, depending on where it is, I would be worth that. But realistically, you know these players. You know if you sign Paul Pogba, you know, Pogba, Mino Ranola's going to eat on whatever move that is. You know Messi, his dad or whoever's involved is eating. You know every move Neymar has made, commercially and football club. Family members are eating, you know. What you heard that last season, there was a lot of things in relation to that. So it's expected, really. When you're trying to sign these sort of man, Haaland, people are going to eat. Donnarumma might have been a free transfer. People still had to eat, you know. So it's a difficult one, man. DG, you got to set up alerts after the stream, bro. I guess so, man. I guess so, man. Currently, sadly, Arsenal are a mess, man. Hopefully, we can get out of it, man. But and now you just got to hold your licks and accept it for what it is, man. Streets got to eat. I ain't mad at it. Trust me, it's got to eat, bro. Because why do you think these man got to the top? They won't pay, man, if they don't have to pay, man. No matter how much peas these man get, they will. Oh, these man are millionaires. They'll probably still hustle over a tenner and that. That's probably how they stay there. So you've got to eat, you know. And when you're trying to sign actual good players, is where it is, man. I don't know why you're still getting ads, man. Twitch seems to do you look dirty, you know. I was assured when you sub through Amazon Prime, it patterns it. Onana plus Madders late in the window. Oh, someone run up a poll, man. Who would be better for Arsenal, Maddison or Aouar? I'm not going to lie. Obviously, we're not getting either. We have more of a sense of getting Aouar, but I think we've got more of a chance of getting Aouar than Maddison. But Maddison will probably gas you a bit more. I want a number 8 in it, someone who can play next to Partey. And which Aouar is that? I don't think if we sign a 10, whether that's ODEGAARD, Maddison, if you just leave it with Smith-Rowe, we're never gonna see that 10 flourish for a few reasons, because you haven't got the partnership behind them sorted. Think biologically, if you want a creative player to bust, your whole team has to be patterned so they're in more areas to be in the final third. It's like PSG. Poch is gonna have to find a way to make that team even better defensively. Of course, the front three have to defend, but to really flourish them, you want them in the final third. There's going to be a gap if something doesn't happen. So I don't think Arsenal don't commit. You know, we had Mesut Ozil. He didn't really build the team around him. It didn't bang. You know, I think the modern day goes against that anyways. You look at how many poetry in motion, organic tens are there in today's football? There's not too many. The more creative man are in the middle of the park. They're more dynamic. And I think Arsenal need that anyways. If we're not going to double down on that, and you ain't gonna, you know, Arteta from a coaching point of view, you know, whatever people say about Arsenal strikers, we should not be ninth for output. You know, that tells me there's a lack of coaching as well as the players fixing up. it's not going to end well, is it? Now, if we can arrest these things, Bob's your uncle. Obviously, people, please make sure you're back at 6 p.m. as well. I'll be online with Mo. I know you said this before, but what times are the Curtis and Mo streams? Well, if you're looking for Curtis, that one there is gone, bro. That was at 11:30 a.m. It will be, the rerun will be on YouTube. In relation to Mo, 6 p.m. UK time today. So I know you said you're in Canada, you know, sort that out, man. Big up S for tuning in, and big up you for passing your GCSEs, man. I'm shocked no one picked up Onana. I know he's banned till November, but I've heard quotes ranging from 1.7 to 7 million. It's a bargain. He's a 25-30 player. Facts, really. Have we set up a poll? Moderators, have you set up a poll, man? But my man has said, Maddison, you know what you're going to get ready-made because he's established in the EPL. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Like, how many seasons for hour to adjust? And also, is he injury-prone or not? Vote on the poll, people. Vote up the poll. Arsenal saying they need to increase their English quota, but they're getting rid of Willock, who can actually do something for you, and are looking to buy Ramsdale. He's a minor keeper. Even worse, you've got rid of Martin as a top 3 Premier League goalkeeper who is also homegrown. Bro, this is what I was saying at the start, reactive decisions, because you're just living in the moment. Like, you're just living in it's bare players are in the halfway house. Do I stay or do I go? Sell or not? You know, there'll be 2 weeks. Everybody's set on this guy's leaving. He might have a good game. Nah, he's staying. But to be fair to you, as much as I don't agree with the Martinez one, and in hindsight, it looks stupid, he was barely in the first team. You made a little 20 million. If Joe Willock, based on going on loan in 6 months, has performed something for you to make peace. The only way I'm going to be annoyed about Joe Willock now is if we don't fix the midfield. He can flourish and do whatever, but that money that you're getting from him should have been a means to an end, really. You know, I don't want us to still be fluttering and whatnot, and he's doing his thing. And I think Joe needed to leave because, you know, Xhaka's a spin in the works. Even if Xhaka stayed here, you know, there should be a midfielder better than him. And I feel regardless of Xhaka, you know, Xhaka looked like he was leaving the club at a point, as you lot saw. That wouldn't, Joe Willock wouldn't have played. I think this decision to go to Newcastle will help him grow as a player because they know he's young and stuff. But first things first, he set big expectations for himself at a new club. They don't care that you're from Arsenal and things. They need a midfielder. Newcastle are some proud fans. 9 times out of 10, sorry, but they are fighting relegation. You got to prove you can fight. You know, you've got to justify why that they spent 20 odd million, because certain man might be pessimistic and say, why are you spending 20 million on him when he only did it for 6 months? And you speak to some Newcastle fans, sometimes when he scored, he's not done much. There's not a criticism, but now he's got to go out there and prove that that's not a thing. And also, when you're you can train as much as you want. The manager can tell you you're as good as you want, but there's no substitute for playing. And it must be a confidence booster, retaining your spot in the side. Likewise, there was times Joe Willock came off the bench and scored for Newcastle. But if we, look past the euphoria of him scoring, why is he on the bench in the first place? Like Liverpool, he came off the bench, I believe, and he made a difference. I could be wrong, but why was you on the bench in the first place? It could have been a tactical one, fair play, but you get the point now. That's going to help you grow. I think Joe, it'll need a miracle to get into the England squad, but that's a man's ambition. Based on that 6 months at Newcastle, not that it's going to get you in there. What's he done at Arsenal to get there? That's better than anything he's done at Arsenal in terms of playing at that level. Yeah, he's had some good games occasionally for Arsenal. He scored a bunch of goals in the cup, but he's been a spare part. You can be a main man at Newcastle. You can develop, learn that importance, show more consistency, and you might get a move to a next top 6 club or whatever if you develop and do your thing. It'll be a good signing for Newcastle as well because they get a player that the manager wants, so it should be good times. There's resale value there. For me, hopefully Arsenal have been smart enough and there's a sell-on clause there and whatnot. Only time will tell. There's a lot of refinement for Joe to do, but I think he looks better in that system purely because he's used better by Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce understands he's a box-to-box man. He's gear, not really much idea with respect. He can drive with a ball. He can mix it up. But him in the 10's atrocious. He does the pressing thing, but real ball people understand, which if you've actually come from Rance's channel, I know my Arsenal fans get it, but if you've come from Rance's channel, which I'm on a lot, you should know that we understand ball and we're a community that understands ball. If you understand ball, Joe Willock in that 10's atrocious. The final ball's not there. It's not Chris. He can do up the pressing and that. I don't think he's always had a plan. It looks like there's a clear plan for him at Newcastle on how to utilize him. And sometimes that happens. I think Joe is a box-to-box man. When the game's kind of tight, if he's not doing the Ramsey thing and trying to run in behind, kind of what he did off the bench in preseason against Chelsea, he's kind of ineffective because let's be real, we're still learning a lot from Joe, If he doesn't go on a goal scoring streak, is he still playing well? Because you've seen midfielders, they're correlated to them goal scoring. And then what happens when they don't score? Look at Dele Alli. Sometimes he was having good games, no one said a thing, but you suddenly stop being prolific. And I think he might have a good season. it is what it is. So Joe needs to prove I really am a goal scoring midfielder and show I can do it for a long time and show I've got more to your game, because I haven't learned that much about Joe. I'm still learning. When you went off to Newcastle, I'm not going to say I could predict the goals. I know you have the ability. I know you have the consistency. I know you're developing consistency. I know you've got the mentality, but I didn't think he was going to do the streak he did. What I wanted to see is, if you're going to play in midfield at a top club or a club that aspires to be such, you've got to be able to play out from the back. You've got to be able to turn on it. You've got to be able to play your game, which is box to box, but switch it up. And I didn't learn that much about Joe at Newcastle. I'm keen to see, can he affect the game when there's not mad space and it's not end to end and it's not a dramatic thing. That's his strengths, but a game's not always going to be in your strengths. And he's still learning. And I think he'll be decent in that regards, people. We've been speaking about Joe Willock. Again, in relation to latest on Joe, let me actually look if there is anything. Last time I checked, he agreed personal terms. He's signing a 6-year deal with Newcastle, and I think I can actually share my screen with you guys. Give me a sec, folks. We apparently heard a bid was accepted in the 20 to 25 million plus add-ons region. Apparently he's signing a 6-year deal, 5 plus an extra year. So Newcastle have done well there to defend themselves and back themselves. They can make profit. And he's got a big deal. Hopefully he's got big boy wages in comparison to what he's getting at Arsenal. I don't imagine he was on little boy wages there. But Arsenal, we heard personal terms were yet to be agreed, and that was holding up the deal. We saw him pictured at London Coley yesterday. But apparently Newcastle will agree personal terms with Arsenal midfielder Joe Willock. Newcastle, apologies, have reached an agreement in principle with Joe Willock over personal terms. The Arsenal midfielder is travelling to the northeast for his medical, but he'll need to be registered by 12 p.m. on Friday if he is to face West Ham on Sunday. So if I'm Steve Bruce, I wanted this guy all summer. I've not had him in pre-season. I definitely want to work with him in a couple of days. You know, probably be on the bench even if he does get over the line for Newcastle, in my opinion, and then what he does past that is him. Newcastle have agreed a fee rising to 25 million with add-ons, people. Hopefully a sell-on clause. Apparently Joe Willock was their number one target. And to be honest, I would want to go. If a manager's telling me I'm his number one target, he's waiting for me. But let's be real. If you was a midfielder who done something for 6 months in the Prem, most other Prem managers, especially managing Newcastle in the situation they find themselves and the pressure Steve Bruce has, bro, I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you all summer. I need somebody in now. Every other manager probably say I need to get someone else in because I need to work with someone in pre-season. Arsenal are moving mad. There was a point you heard Newcastle have placed a bid. Arsenal haven't said anything because they were trying to use him to go Leicester as a spare part and that. You know, if I was that, I'm not into the games. We try to get Gallagher, which they didn't get. We try to do, some other loan play, for example, Loftus-Cheek or Barkley, or see what, just random examples. I'll be trying to do something else. He has stayed for you. We've all played Sunday League. It's like when you play for a team that's not good and the coach loves you because it's happened and he's still calling you. He'll all drop you to your yard and that, and then things there. That's what it feels like. And it must feel good. Steve Bruce saying he likes you, not like Arteta. I'm not saying Arteta didn't like you and the dynamics are different, but he's saying he likes you and he's playing you. He's playing you, and you've done what we all wanted to do. You're playing Premier League football. Man's got a record, people, and he set a new record of becoming the youngest player to score in 7 consecutive games. That's more than you've done at Arsenal, bro. What's the occasional FA Cup, or if someone gets injured, you might get in and stuff like that. And with Joe, he was one of them where you'd have to do up the cups, really shine in the cups. You might get a 1 Premier League start. You got to take it, and that happened to him the season before. Was it last season where Pepe got sent off? It might have been last season. It was last season. In the build-up, he got into the Leeds squad. Now, everybody at Leeds was terrible. Joe Willock got dropped. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you don't really get the chance to really kind of establish yourself. And realistically, with Partey, with Lokonga, in Arteta's eyes, Xhaka is going to play more than you. And Xhaka is clearly, in terms of building, I'm not going to lie, rightly or wrongly, Xhaka is better for building up play and all those sort of things at this moment in time over Joe. Whether I think Xhaka should be in the position to do that is another thing. My point being, that's about 3 midfielders ahead of you. Smith-Rowe is there now. Obviously, you've got, El Nene will probably play ahead of him because he's that safe option and things like that. You don't know what Arsenal may or may not do in the transfer market. Technically, Maitland-Niles, who probably won't be here, has spoken about playing in midfield. What could happen there? Let's just say Maitland-Niles got a chance and then it was a wowzers. You can't rely on that. For me, if I was Joe, I might have even had the hump that this is, bro, the season's about to start. I would have tried to do this thing early, and he might have did. We don't know all the variables, but, I would have been trying to get this move going into preseason. He's not really, he's had a preseason. He's not really played like that. And, You probably start from the back of the pecking order initially at Newcastle. Like, I'd be amazed if you start against West Ham if you are registered in time. I'd love him to, but I can't see the cookie crumbling as such, people. But it is what it is. But yeah, Joe Willock's agreed personal terms. You'll probably hear in the morning that, in my opinion, it's done. What else is there to do? You just have that medical. Lawyers probably assess the contract, dot a couple I's, cross a couple T's, and Bob's your uncle, man. Big up everybody locked in as well, people. I appreciate it. Again, I'm going to be back at 6 p.m. as well. So yeah, man. What are you lot saying? Let me scroll down. Don't know why it froze. DG's gonna blow up on Twitch. I would love to. I don't know, my guy, but we keep thriving, man. There has to be some kind of homegrown changes coming soon, which is why there's an emphasis on homegrown players. I'd go with Maddis. Easier said than done, but fact. The man said it froze. Cool, man. DG, would you say the modern 10s have more defensive responsibility due to the rise of pressing? Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt. Lingard is proper man unless he's dancing in the change room. What's the Lingard chat? Happy for Joe. Willock is a baller. He plays like Lingard. But the thing with the thing with Joe, I'm not going to sit here and cap. For me, if you're praising a midfielder for working hard, something is missing or something is not there. I'm not saying that with Joe. I know he's got goals. That's actually what I'm talking about. You've got to be known for something, bro. You can't just know someone for working hard. And realistically, let's be real. When the first things we're looking at, I'm not saying with Joe, but historically, that was him at Arsenal. When the first things we're looking at is he works hard, he puts the shift in. You can't be that good then, innit? Like, that is a minimum. If you're a midfielder, you should work hard. If you're a professional footballer, you should work hard. If you're historically at Arsenal or wherever, you should work hard. Realistically, you should be able to do that. So it's about defining himself. And I think he can define himself. He can discover himself. He can develop himself better than he could at Arsenal, at Newcastle, personally, because I believe minutes are currency. He's at the stage he needs to play. I think arguably he should have been on this sort of flex a season or so ago. Eddie, the same. In hindsight, it looks silly, but I can't blame you guys for choosing Leno over Martinez at the time. He was older and the club for like a decade. And Leno was more experienced in terms of games in Europe. I hear that, but me, I could, because I've always had concerns over Leno. I've never quite understood why I don't know the word, but there's mad sort of high regard for him. With respect, obviously, I'm not saying he's a bad keeper, but I didn't, we're moving like he's a prime Van der Sar or it's Buffon or something like that. It's not adapting. And I think a lot of what he brought to the table is overstated. There's many times he's defended this club. There was times where it was just him and Aubameyang historically, and now they're not on it. So I don't know what's going on, but I wanted to keep Martinez in it because I just feel Martinez. I'm not going to say Martinez was the better keeper because at the time I couldn't really pick, but I preferred Martinez. It seemed like Martinez. It just seems like if you ask Martinez, do you want to play outfield? He's going to say, no, I'm a goalie. You ask Leno will calmly play centre half in the back three or fancies himself as a midfielder. I think Leno had more clarity in what he was doing. He was more of a catcher than a fumbler of balls. And I don't really like the eccentric keeper. He's better at collecting. His distribution. I don't think he quite had the passing range and them things at the time as Leno. But when he would try it, it would bang more. Do you get it? He had more clarity in what he was trying to do. He's more vocal as well. And I think for any keeper, whether they're going to be second choice in this club or they're going to be hopefully an upgrade on what we have, it sounds stupid, but I don't see in the modern game people asking keepers to be vocal loud enough anyways, but I need a vocal keeper. I'm not saying Leno isn't. I'm at the Emirates frequently and I do see him open his mouth, but I don't quite think he's that leader and that reassuring voice. And sometimes I think it's the blind leading the blind or the deaf leading the blind and these sort of things with respect. That's just my opinion, man. Maddison price is too high, probably, but our club has spunk money on more nonsense, so just live a movie, man. Ramsdale deal is dead. Fee couldn't be agreed through personal terms. I agree, but I wouldn't say it's dead. I think something might happen. It all depends how much Ramsdale wants to force the issue. DG is a grafter. Try him, man. Maddison's a baller. I'll swap him with Bruno. I think his IQ is higher than Bruno, without a doubt, in terms of playing football. But Bruno's bringing you goals, man. I know you don't. I know United fans, you don't want to rely on the Bruno scumbag in the games thing and papering over cracks. But say what you want about Bruno, and there's a lot of criticism. You know, like, goal scoring midfielders are understated, and I think he could offer you something. So I hear that, but the goals, bro. Your girl's drowning here in my voice, big man. Martinez was being weird. He didn't back himself to keep Leno out of the 11. I don't agree with that, but I hear that. How do you feel about Xhaka's new contract and the Roma move falling through? The first thing, it concerned me because what I felt, even as I said earlier, I felt even with Xhaka. You know, I do think Xhaka isn't as bad as people make out. I keep saying this. I don't think he's as good as certain sections of the fan base make out. I don't think he should be first name on the team sheet. Like where Arteta is concerned, you know, Tierney, Leno by default, you know, Saka, and then I think you're looking at Xhaka. Definitely where the midfield is concerned, he's probably the first name on the team sheet. I'm not saying he's terrible. Sometimes I think he's scapegoated, but it's not strong enough foundations. And I think even with him, you should be upgrading him and removing him. Arteta loves him, innit? Rightly or wrongly, managers are allowed to like who they want, innit? But I think there's an issue there. With him staying now, it's kind of an easier option to not go for a centre mid that's going to shake things up and go for a better partner for Partey. Do I think Xhaka is going to have a mad turnaround and have a great partnership with Partey that proves one suitable for the Premier League? I'd love to be wrong. I hope so. But we're living in a dream world. Probably not. So I don't think we're going to do that. I don't understand the new deal. I say that from a fan's point of view. I get it from Xhaka's point of view, because if put yourself in Granit Xhaka's shoes, regardless what you think about the man, I'm always playing. I've been at the club for a while now. I'm playing under several managers. You know, I'm always a first name on the team sheet. I've got 2 or so years left. We did a video on this, a stream on this months ago. You're going to look to get a new deal. Does feel a bit like we're being sissies, like we're in a relationship. You're begging your partner not to go. You're saying, please don't go. I'll buy you some Ugg boots or something. I'm not really with it. So I wanted him to leave because obviously I want the midfield to be revamped. So it flipped things on its head, and I think with that, this is why I think we'll if it's Odegaard or bust, I think we'll look to go for Odegaard whether it bangs or not, and that concerns me because, as I said, you're already playing a losing game, playing a 10 in the modern game. Anyways, 9 times out of 10 you're playing a 3-man midfield, more times, sometimes even flat, away from the top clubs. The game is already against poetry and motion. So if you're gonna get that luxury man, he needs to be able to defend. He needs to be very good, and the club need to double down on that individual. And also, the other 10 individuals have to make up the difference for what he lacks. Because for me, I don't really want my cam. I want my cam to press and defend. Obviously, you have to do that, but I don't want them in areas they're not going to hurt the opposition. If my, you know, like you see at Arsenal, Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, whoever plays there, they're always, because we can't build from the back, they're always dropping. They're near the centre half. Then on the best of days, our link-up play is kind of shaky or was flaky last season. Now you can see there's a gap. This is what I mean when I say, personally, I think way before we talk about how good a team is and things like that, we defeat ourselves, you know, through just naive tactics and just madness, really and truly, if I'm completely honest with you. But yeah, it is what it is. Old school 10s are a dying breed. Eddie needs to hurry up. Ain't like he's 22. He's still young for a striker, but yeah, you need to leave. His injuries probably messed up things. Then again, Lamptey, I swear he went to he left Chelsea for Brighton when he had a little knock. I could be wrong. You think this is the end of Saliba? I hope not, but it's a madness. DG, what's your predictions for top 4 relegation and dark horses for the next season? Relegation, I hope not to be Brentford, but I'd say Brentford by default because they just came up. Norwich because they just came up. And I know Southampton have signed Adam Armstrong and they've loaned Chelsea's Borgia, but I think, you know, until I see the striker thing patterned up, anytime you ain't got a certified goal scorer, you're in trouble. Like we was on top of everything last season. Like, you know, if you're not really going to win a league title if somebody's not getting significant goals. Goals can be the difference staying in the league. Look at Tevez. Tevez in his West Ham days, he found his shooting boots towards the end of that season, scoring at Old Trafford, literally kept them up. So probably that. Top 4, City, no auditing, but I think City's a given. I think Liverpool will be up there as well. I think Chelsea will be up there. I think United and Leicester will fight for that as well. So out of them 5, really, yeah, Watford as well is also a candidate in terms of relegation. Dark horses, personally, I hope it's us. Like, I hope, bro, we finished 8th, bro. I hope it's us, bro. I hope we're dark horsing for top 4 or something. I hope it's Arsenal. First things first. But on a serious note, I would say I hope Aston Villa, because obviously they got the best winger yardman, Leon Bailey there, you know, and obviously they got Ings, they got Buendia, you know, they're trying to get Ward-Prowse, keen to see what they're really on. Norwich played good football last time they were here. You know, I always want Leeds to do well. I always want Leicester to do well. You know, I would love them to do things. Joe Willock's gone to Newcastle, so I'd like them to do things. I would love Crystal Palace, obviously. Vieira's there. The obvious Arsenal ties, would love him to do things. So I'd say that really, really and truly, man. Good question, though. Shout out to you. I think we should make that one day a timestamp as well. Big up everyone who's going to watch this on the replay and things. Make sure you've hit the follow button and subscribe button, people. Obviously, I can't imagine you don't, but if you don't know, I do YouTube, Deluded Gooner on YouTube also, people. So, yeah. Dark horses. Call that Premier League predictions. Let's call it that one there. Hey, S, don't get blocked, man. You're hitting a man where they're down. Southampton is done this year. Bro, I don't know. They sold Vestergaard as well. Significant. Obviously, if they're that young Chelsea lad, you're probably relishing it now. You might get game time. And they obviously got Livramento as well, the young right back. Again, that Borgia guy, he's done well in Holland and he looks physically up for it, but no one knows until you get a chance. Adam Armstrong, like Ivan Toney. Remember, I did a video. I thought these are two players that could get moves, and they're both playing in the Prem. Obviously, different sort of moves. Pardon me. Sparrow fought for Newcastle because they both at Newcastle had both of them at one point. You know, I know they bought Tony via Northampton, but still, like, right. Good questions, though, man. Do we abandon the 4-2-3-1 for the upcoming season? Personally, I don't think you need to, or the 4-3-3. Whatever formation we do, the midfield's going to let it down. The only reason we got away with 3 at the back is obviously there's just more congested, man. We're hiding frailties. Any formation that this club wants to do, it's going to falter by the midfield. Some of you, I don't believe in playing Lacazette and Aubameyang together right now, definitely while the form's inconsistent. But a lot of you have screamed 4-4-2. The 4-4-2, I hear it. I'm not against it, but I am against it because you look in the middle, there's 2 midfielders. As I keep saying, in midfield more time, you know, Chelsea got 5 in midfield 9 times out of 10, and a midfield 3 in particular that are very good on the ball and very dynamic. With exception to 3 at the back, 9 times out of 10, you're playing 3 in midfield. So the pivot to have any chance, they've got to be spot on. Now, you look at any potential options we can put together at Arsenal, you know, it's not levels, is it? So, and they've also got to be able to create and the wingers got to be on doing them as a man. For me, I can't understand why Saliba isn't there ahead of Holding and Chambers. He's young, he'll make mistakes. Caught a couple of games of him and Todibo linking up at Nice and both look decent. 100, I mean, Saliba got the Wenger co-sign not too long ago. You have to ask Arteta. I don't think it's a football reason, man. I just don't think Arteta fancies Donny. DG, what do you think of Noni Madueke and would you take him at Arsenal? Yep, bad boy footballer. You know, he keeps shelling it. Gets another move, he might start getting in the England thoughts, you know, and that's another positive example of somebody leaving a British academy and where he left Spurs. Defo love him for that and going elsewhere and doing his thing. Bellerin needs replacing. It's got to the point, Bellerin don't even need replacing. We just need a right back. He's not even in the right back conversation, bro. Before you speak to any Arsenal fan, you speak right back, man are probably rightly or wrongly, and these guys got their problems as well. Man are saying Chambers, a centre half there, you know, who went at a time was playing in midfield for Fulham on loan. Maitland-Niles, a man that said he wants to play in midfield. I'm playing him at right back before Bellerin gets an opportunity. Cedric, I bet you forgot he was a footballer at Arsenal. You're probably trying to bring Cedric back from the dead before you give Bellerin a chance. You know, I think Bellerin's the one where I'm not in a none of it in it. I know we're probably not going to bring one in if we don't sell any, but I would just love a new right back. I think we've done this already in it. Like, we need to be cruel to be kind. Personally, I would give Maitland-Niles. The Arsenal Halen boy in me wants him to get a chance, but I'm at that point now. I just want to deal with players. Same way I can believe in Tierney when fit, can I believe in you? And I don't necessarily believe in any of them right backs. But same way, Bellerin's last in that pecking order. So he's replaced himself. I give myself a go at right back before him, man. He's only got the fitness and them things there on, man. If I'm honest with you, on a serious note. But yeah, let's look at what Mikel Arteta has said in his press conference, people. One love to everybody that's here. Please make sure you're following, subscribing, and all of those sort of things, man. I hope you're doing good. What would your ideal midfield look like? Probably something along the lines of an Aouar, Partey, and a Smith-Rowe, my dude. Purely because that's got a bit more of everything. Personally, I'd love Arsenal to be in a way where you could have 2 8s, a 10, like the days of old. But you need super players for all of that stuff, really. But I'd say midfielders that are confident. We need midfielders who want the ball. Like, look, let's look at Chelsea. I know Kovacic, for obvious reasons, we're not going to get him. But you see how Kovacic gets the ball. Obviously, he does love a touch or two, but 9 times out of 10, 2 touch, bang. Someone make the run, bang. You know, look how that team was moving in possession. Everyone believing themselves, you know, because I don't believe what, from playing out from the back sort of view, I don't believe what Tuchel is doing is too dissimilar from what Arteta wants to do. For obvious reasons, implementing it at Arsenal and Chelsea are going to be different, but you get the point, you know. Playing a back three and all these things are only as defensive and or as offensive as you make it. But yeah, okay, man, just someone who wants the ball. And because I don't believe in our midfield, you know, you look at our midfield, we're not scumbags that we're mad defensive. You lot will come here, try to be creative. It's not adapting. We're not the Arsenal guys of old. We're mad technical, will dictate the tempo of the game. We're not that. We're not dynamic runners and stuff like that. You look at the midfield, what is it? And our midfield, you know, our ability to improve in attack and in defense is, as much as, among other things, is you know, relies on that midfield improving and addressing pivots and things. If you don't want to do the Partey and Xhaka thing, then I'll tell you, you need to find someone else to work with Xhaka or Partey, because I don't want to keep talking about these same things. But let's actually get into the press conference, people. Now it's the first one of the season. I'm keen to hear what the hell Arteta has had to say. I see a lot of comments surfacing online. Hopefully there's some positivity and less politician stuff, but we all know it's a new season. Here goes the transcript, people. In relation on our transfer window so far, Mikel Arteta said, well, in this first period of the transfer window, I think we've done a few things we wanted to do. Yeah, you know, you got a couple of players out, you brought in a couple, fair play. It started off positive, and we thought we'd see more aggressiveness from more marquee players, fair play. It's going to help us to get the squad in much better place. There is still a bit of the window to go, so I'm sure things will happen either way. Let's hope so. How many more players would he like to sign? I'm willing to work with the players that I have at the moment and get the best out of them. We'll see what we can do. Hopefully, he can get the best out of the attackers and knife for goals. So please do. On what would represent a successful league campaign for Arsenal, our goal is to get the best version consistently that's going to bring us closer to winning football matches. That's what I want from the team. If we do that consistently in every single match, we're going to be in a good place. But that's something we haven't done. Consistently give the best version. That's something we must control. We must do. And I think we're able to do that. Then the results will be the consequence of that. So he's not necessarily wrong in what he's saying. You know, that is something we want to see. But he's been very smart in not saying Europe. He could have said, and what he should have said, Arsenal is a team that every year we're not involved in Europe. Really, we should be aspiring to win European competitions, the whole point of moving to the stadium, but we're not doing that. You know, he doesn't have to say that. That's what I would say. What I would demand of him to say realistically is, like he said at the start, Arsenal's a team that should be in Europe, etc., and that's our goal. But obviously, if he says that, that's a target on his back. We all know that's the goal for Arsenal. You know, anything less than Europe of any capacity is failure. Even Arsenal getting in the Europa League is failure. Anything less than the Champions League, whether Arsenal can aspire to that or not, is failure. So he's been a bit smart, and especially because he's made a big song and dance about pre-season. We're going to have to see on whether he has a particular league finish he's aiming for. On Friday, win against Brentford, then we'll be in a strong position in the league. That's what we have to do. Then the rest will come. Boy, you know. Boy, this is what I'm saying, being very smart. On whether Brentford will be cautious, they shouldn't be cautious because they're going against a very naive Arsenal team, a team where, you know, they're actually there for the taking. And just on the basis that Brentford, you know, they're coming from the Championship. You do not get out the Championship, people, unless you are street smart or have a collective bunch of street smart players. Now, you flip that on its head. What do you get across looking at this Arsenal team? Naiveties. Brentford could hurt us on that counter-attack, people, you know. Arteta needs to be able to fully take that in. Brentford could harm us. That is it. Mbebu, he could harm us. I can't say his name, but the right winger, they got Canos. They play good football. They're a forward-thinking club. They can play a 3. They can play a 4. There's serious issues if you F about, and they should be buzzing because they should think that Arsenal defense is naive and got out. Yeah, Ben White, 50 mil, get at him. Marie, you had a poor game against Spurs, get at him. Tierney, you're really one of the best in the league or whatever, get at him. Whoever is right back at Arsenal, get at them. Leno, get at him. That whole defensive unit, get at them. You're gonna be buzzing anyways. You're gonna be in your stadium where you're gonna be buzzing anyways, and your fans are. And I'm not being funny for the Brentford players that did get here and are gonna play. What was the whole point of last season? It was to get to this promised land. Now, dreams can turn into a nightmare, but fundamentally enjoy it. If you enjoy your football, you're going to have a madness. There's more pressure on Arsenal. You know, Brentford win on top of what's already happened with Arsenal, the song and dance of pre-season and what happened last season. You can already imagine where it's going, in it, people. So you have to. You know, they won't, they'll respect you. And if you mean that by caution, then fair play. But Brentford should go for the taking. You know, there's more question marks over Arsenal than there is Brentford. On what he likes most about Brentford's style of play, the clarity in what they do. That would be amazing to say that about my club. The clarity in what they do. The clarity in what they do. The clarity in what they do. Amazing. Just wish we could say, I wish you'd say that about our team. They've been doing it for a long time now, and you can see that they have the fluidity and chemistry between them, and they believe that the plan they put into place works for them. I think that's a big strength for any team. On Ivan Toney, yeah, he's shown his quality, that's for sure. But every recruitment they've done in that position over the last few years in that position has been pretty successful. So it's the player. I think it's also the system, how they work with their players. So if you know about their system, their players, and the clarity of what they do, let's hope we was working on that, because surely everything we're doing in pre-season has to be geared to Brentford, to Chelsea, to City away, and beyond that, because you lot already know what happened last season. You lot already know what could happen this season. It's a very long road from now until December, and not everybody might. Well, the players won't get sacked, but certain people might. On our business so far and whether we will do more, well, we've identified what we've needed to do and what we can strengthen our team short, medium, and long term. And what we needed to achieve, we've defined the profile of player that suits the model that we have at the moment at the club that can sustain our financial position. And we've made 3 movements in relation to that. On whether we're close to signing a goalkeeper, I cannot tell you. I have no answers for that. On the number of signings that would make him happy, the team that the team puts in place, what we've been working on, and the spirit that they have and the energy that they've been training with and in the games more consistently, because we've had some very good patches against both teams in the last 2 games against Chelsea and Spurs. Patches doesn't win games. This is the same logic that has Arsenal fans talking about, oh, we're top since December, bro. The thing starts in August. Yeah, there might be some positives to take, but don't make that. It gets a bit Disney Channelish and a bit lying, really. It's how we compete in matches to get wins, which is the most important thing. Fair play. On Joe Willock, obviously, he's going to not answer the question, you know, specifically when asked on if he'll be here in September. He didn't answer it because obviously Joe Willock will be completing the move to Newcastle. Personal terms and the fee have been agreed. Clearly, it's, you know, 11th hour sort of stuff. On whether now it's his time to deliver, it is always. I think the demands of this football club are so high that the expectations are so high. Whether they are to the level and the quality and the capability that we have is a different matter. We have to cope with that. You have to cope with that, because these players will get you sacked. They've got people that's held in high regard sacked. He spoke about Aubameyang, and he's never going to say anything other than he's been playing well. And whether the transfer window has been underwhelming, it's been really busy, and you've just named a few names, but that tells you as much as how much we've had to do from the position that we started this window. We're talking about probably the most difficult transfer window in this industry over the last few years for sure. And I mean, we was in this position last year, so we can't really be surprised, and everyone is. And we are trying to adapt. The club, the owners, and myself, we all have the same mindset, whether that's positive or negative is another thing, which is to make this team much stronger. And we know that we still have things to do to get what we want. Hope that is the case. On whether he still has time to achieve that, it is, but things take time, and there are all the time different parties and different interests there to get deals done. For sure, we are trying to do what we can, and as important as that is, to make sure that the squad is healthy and we have stability within the squad, which is something that we certainly missed last year after December. So that is important as well. On if players need to leave before new arrivals can come in. Money is tight for every club at the moment. Another true thing. We have an ownership that is willing to invest in the team, and they want to get the team better with bigger aims, and we are trying to find the balance, because at the same time, we really need to be careful, because we need 100% a position that is sustainable and will help the club. He spoke about how good Ben White is. We spent 50 million on him, so we should get that. On Thomas Frank, there are always different ways into management. I think what he's done is remarkable. So yeah, he's bigged up the manager. It's not really relevant what he said about Lionel Messi or Jack Grealish. On supporters' concerns at our transfer activity compared to our traditional rivals, absolutely, fans need to be excited. Be more excited if I could see what the fuck we're doing from a tactical point of view, pardon my language. They need to see a team that is capable of competing with those teams, because our history is related to that. Nobody can deny that. That's the aim, and that should be the objective. Okay. So show me. on if it's frustrating basically going into next season with all of these question marks. He said it's how the others develop is something at this time that is not possible to do on August 12th, but it's possible to do on the last day. Again, I don't really have time to speak about rambling, man. He spoke about Buendia, sorry, he spoke about Martinez. He was then pressed on a position to pick. He said, if he had to pick one position to fill before the deadline, no, it wouldn't be the goalkeeper position. I wouldn't say that. It's always trying to do what we have to do, and it's about the play. It's not about the player or the position. It's about where the squad should be finishing. That's what I would pick for the squad. The squad that we're going to have at the end of this transfer window. That is what I would be doing. On players departing, he said, I think everything is related to who we bring in, who is out, our capacity to hold foreign players in the squad. There are a lot of question marks still to be resolved. It's still pretty open. Looking at the going back, people, I can't not miss it. He said anything is possible, and there's still lots of things to be done and lots of clubs involved. And you can see that things have started to move at a different speed in the last week or so. True, it's been a really difficult transfer window, and probably a lot of things will happen in the last week or so. So maybe he's throwing little smoke screens to you lot on what happened with Emmy. Again, it's different parties involved in that decision, and at some stage you have to make a decision based not so on what we want as well, and the player's objective and the history of the player that was here for 10 years and the role that he wants to have in the team. Then you try to do something and maybe you're not able to do what you want. Sometimes it's financial. Sometimes a player doesn't become available and you have to adapt. I wish that all the time it was always the way you plan or want it. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that's that in relation to his press conference relating to his first one of the season. So, boy, we'll have to see exactly what's going on, man. He's absolutely tap dancing around those questions. My word. Bewildering sort of stuff, but that's him really and truly. Let me remove my timestamps, people. Shout out to everybody locked in. Man said deluded. I'm not even an Arsenal fan, just like listening to footy talk. Appreciate you, my guy. Man said same Chelsea fan, but I like DG's football IQ. I appreciate that. Hot sugar, what a name. I think we actually need a striker more than a right back at the moment, which is crazy. Aubameyang is a real concern. I hear you, but I don't agree, man, because purely it doesn't make it's hard. It's like half doing a job. You've got Tierney, you've got two centre backs when fitting, Gabriel and Ben White. You know, you don't have a right back, regardless of who is there. The goalie, if Leno's staying, cool, you can move forward with Leno. But is he the guy? I don't know. I hear you, but I think we could fix the lack of goals. I think regardless of Aubameyang not scoring, and he needs to ask himself questions, there's a lack of creativity, as shown against Spurs, as shown against Chelsea. When there's a lack of creativity, when there's nothing going on in your midfield, together with defensive naiveties and stuff, you're heading nowhere fast, like you've seen with Arsenal, and things can get a lot worse. You know, first it was coming out the Champions League, then it was Europa League, now it's out the Europa League, now it's 8th. I don't want it. I'm not trying to be leader of doom. I want us to finish higher. It's just I have to look at what I'm seeing, and I don't know what I'm seeing really and truly. It's like you know, I don't really know what it is. It's not really making sense. So let's just see. But it promises to be a roller coaster. The only exciting thing is I'll be on this roller coaster with you guys, people. So shout out you lot. Things will get really ugly if we are winless after the first 3 matches. A lot of pressure on Arteta to get 3 points tomorrow. Brentford will be very tough. Facts. Arsenal don't normally start well and are never prepared properly for a season, and Brentford have just promoted the vibe of the first Premier League game in decades. I can see a Brentford win, to be fair, and that's not just because I support Chelsea. There's legit teeth to what you're saying, my guy, man. In Bermo. Farid, if you're telling the truth, appreciate that. But then you done me dirty, man. Just never going to repeat what you said about champions of Europe. Allow me, man. If Mark Gurry has a 30 season for Palace, his value will easily be 50 million. Facts. You're right on that. And I hope he does well, man. Appreciative. Bro, I'm not looking forward to Lukaku because that's like Curtis said, bro. If you're a striker, like I just said with Ivan Toney, you fancy this Arsenal team, bro. Because they're forget the defense, the whole outlook is naive. If you're Lukaku, you fancy that. Forget the Arsenal and whatever ties and stuff. Obviously, there's relevance. You fancy being able to get into the channels and roll Ben White and the right back not being anywhere, bro. If you see Bellerin and these guys, you're gonna fancy it. You know, you're gonna fancy it. It's dangerous. You've got Ivan Toney, you've got Lukaku, and we're focusing on Lukaku. You've got a bag of Chelsea attackers. We just have to hope we're able to beat them again, like in previous games. If that's not good enough, you've got City. After that, and you know how City get. You probably see Zinchenko playing up front, scoring 5 against us. It could get mad, man. I hope Arsenal roll over Brentford, but I don't know. I can't confidently say. I don't know which Arsenal's turning up. Is it the Arsenal that's turned up on occasion last season in a handful of games against Chelsea, against United and whatnot, even Spurs? Or is it the Arsenal that you've seen dropping stupid points and being in the position they're in? At least I know with Brentford, I can see togetherness and all of those things. I don't know what Arsenal's done, bro. I don't know. And I'm not being funny, but from like you say that, there's serious problems, man. Serious problems. Raya going to have a wonder game now because of karma. It would be like Arsenal to have a potential target or potential target to do that. Fact. City, no chance. Chelsea, maybe a draw. Boy, let's hope, man. Anything can happen in football, but it's about belief, bro. I don't know if these men believe in themselves. I don't know if it's about application. I don't know if they apply themselves properly over 38 games, which obviously the table doesn't lie. Arsenal fans will try to lie to you and tell you about December, but it starts in August and it ends in May. It's mad. It's actually heavy for you, bro. It's a DG Nation thing. Make sure you're subscribed and whatnot. We'll just ride the highs and the lows and just talk football for where it is, man. You know, try move emotion. Just accept that it's about drippy kits and things like that. Just take it for where it is, man. Bro, I mean, the game's the game, innit? Say what you want about Lukaku. The man scores goals, innit? And I think he is a better all-rounder. The one that left the Prem, that's the one that's coming back. Obviously, there's still going to be a lot of question marks that mark Lukaku. Personally, I'd love to see how many years he lasts. Not because he can't last, it's because I do think Chelsea will come across a time where they'll say to him, the goals ain't good enough. We need a bit more. Look, you know, Chelsea don't finish their dinner. Lukaku will finish their dinner. Yeah, man, they need someone who can do that really and truly. I don't think Chelsea is as good as everyone thinks. I don't think they're talked about enough, but I think because they've won the Champions League and stuff, there's still a lot of naiveties in that Chelsea team. Let's be real. I know I'm an Arsenal fan, but from doing the watch along in that game, you know, if we're talking about Chelsea winning the Prem, and I think they can challenge for the league, and Tuchel said this season they're doing that. If that's a league game yesterday, they draw it. There's no extra time, and they shouldn't have drawn it because there was periods in that game. How often did you see Trevor Chalobah, a great game, man of the match for me, you know, in their half, you know, Rudiger carrying it forward, Zuma, Kovacic playing lovely passes, bro, Kante's building at one point, Hudson-Odoi receiving it off Kovacic. They had a lot of, they didn't have a lot of chance. I don't feel they created enough for all their possession. And saying that, you know, Villarreal on the balance of things, their goal wasn't locked. There was a couple of times they hit the post. You know, there was one before didn't Moreno hit the post in the first half. These are things, you know, giving unnecessary chances where there is none, killing the game off. These are things the Chelsea team needs to improve at. And I do think Chelsea can really only play one way. It's a bit like, it's not quite the level of how we used to play for football, whether the trophies correlate or not. But it reminds me of the Wenger Arsenal side in that it's this way or the highway. It's a techie thing. I know there's a couple other players who can be a bit direct, but yeah, and I think it's not that there's anything wrong with the build-up. It's a bit patient still. Well, I did watch the Chelsea game as you've asked. I wasn't sure about Lukaku, but seeing the low crossing going into the box without anyone attacking them, I reckon Lukaku will score a lot of goals if we just leave him in the box and play to his strengths. He'll succeed. That's what you need. You know, you lot are baking cakes and stuff, and no one wants to eat. Lukaku will eat. But again, it's the catch-22 because I don't think strikers can win in today's game. You know, it's the catch-22 in that, you know, no matter how good your general play and all of that stuff is, like Werner, you know, the aspects of him in the Chelsea team, I can see why he plays. It's just, I personally feel there's something psychological. There's a mental block with him and an inability to score goals. If it could be a lack of ability, but I just think he freezes up. It doesn't matter about the general play, like you see, because he's not scoring goals. It's at Arsenal. You've got Lacazette. He can do the pressing and the link-up play and that, but he doesn't carry the goal-scoring threat. So it's, you know, you need to offer a bit more than just scoring, but fundamentally you need to score. So I don't think they can kind of win, man. Werner and Lukaku could be a partnership. And to be fair, I think Werner will get a lot of assists for Lukaku in general. But I can't lie, I'll be trying to see Kai Havertz, some false striker role thing next to Lukaku. You lot link up and do the thing. No, Lukaku's a cool guy, man. Lukaku's someone you want to see him succeed, man. It's going to be a long season if we don't move decisive for the remainder of this month. You could say that again, broski. I agree, DG. They didn't create enough, but they looked so good on the ball and everyone was in sync, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I mean. They're enjoying the ball. That's what I mean about them Arsenal team. They were all in sync on that, but if you don't kill off games, that's what you happen. Lapses in concentration, and Moreno scored, but it was coming. Villarreal didn't have much chances, but there was a couple of chances. Shaky. There was a shaky pass at one point from Mendy. There was a couple of mad moments from everybody, as did Villarreal, but focusing on Chelsea. I don't understand people who say Odegaard is overrated. He was one of the best players last season. If we can get him for 35, 40, that would be fantastic business. Amen. But I can't lie to you. We ain't got too much of a case to go off because he didn't set the world alight. We know there's many variables, but I wouldn't turn up my nose. Not that we can afford to. It's a shame for Hakim Ziyech because he was playing well. And then obviously, I don't know the diagnosis. It looked like he hurt his arm or his shoulder or whatever. Did they give Smith-Rowe the 10 too soon? Well, on the basis of you've got Patrick Vieira, you've got Dennis Bergkamp's number off the back of 6 months. Not bad, but you could say yes. What I don't really care about the number because, bro, there's a lot of problems at Arsenal. I don't really care who's wearing what. If you do the dirt, you do the dirt, innit? And, if the club's betting on him, they're betting on him. What my problem is there's an over-reliance on him. You need to address that creativity. It's the same over-reliance that's going to get there on Saka. That's going to get there, that's been there on him. The over-reliance even on Tierney. Martinelli's not really been on the team, but on the scene. But way before it was Saka and Smith-Rowe, we was over-relying on Martinelli. We was over-relying on him when he played against City in the Cup last year where Runnison had a stinker. Probably did give it to him early, but I'm not being funny, bro. I've seen Gala stink up the place in that 10 shirt. So, it's a madness. Man said, take Odegaard, he's bang average. To be fair, there's nothing wrong with being average as long as you can be consistent. And bro, there's a couple below average man in the club, so it is what it is. I slightly think Smith-Rowe got it too early, maybe, man. Do you know what? On the basis of pressure, because number 10, creative outlaw, and that, maybe on that vibe, it was too early. Maybe on that sort of vibe, you keep your little number 30, 32 or whatever it was. You show, can you do it for an extra year? Maybe sign a deal and then indirectly give it to you. It is what it is. I was hoping that it was kept free because obviously of the numerous players we was linked with, but yeah, man, Gallas had that, bro. So you can't do any worse than that, really. I hope it's big expectation, and at some, I think we're being a bit harsh, as I keep saying, over relying on Smith-Rowe and Saka and not remembering they're young men. But with great power comes great responsibility. In it, you want to be an Arsenal man and an Arsenal creative player. You've got to show that you're at it. You've got to show you're the man. And the only way is down the only way is up because he's only going to get better and stuff. But the only way is down. Everyone wants your spot. That's a position Arsenal should be looking year in, year out. Who can we sign to do this and that? Just like a striker, historically at Newcastle or Man United. If you're a Man United number 7, a number 9, or a number 10, man are onto you. You get me? You got to be able to do stuff, If you got a number 5 shirt in defense at Arsenal, or 4, I need to look at you for stuff. 4 in midfield, there's certain things. Any club, in fact, if you're a number 9, everyone's looking for strikers. Strikers are real consistent strikers are a rarity. Look around. There's not much of a talent pool. There's a couple strikers I think people could take chances on. You look at people like Zapata, but there's a shortage of world-class strikers or top quality strikers or just strikers that were consistent. I'd say you go back a few years, they were in abundance. It's the same old names. And for me, I scream, scouts, do your job. Really. If you just go off the Haalands, the Martinez's, and, all of these sort of names, throw Mbappe in there, there's not too many like that, man. So it is what it is. Yeah, they're 10 too early. And said 20. That was a good question, though, man. I think on a pressure vibe, probably, because again, it opens you up. But then again, you've got to deal with it, innit? You can't really, me, I'm Mr. Halen. I'll always try and wrap these lads in cotton wool, and it's not adapting. The problem with fans, but you know how fans can get in it. They love you today, they hate you tomorrow, they back loving you today. Just like with Joe, obviously Joe isn't of the caliber of these guys that I've mentioned, but I've seen Joe. Oh man, certain man used to make videos. Joe Willock is not good enough. Blah, blah, blah. I remember Joe had a game. I'm not saying don't criticize him. Played terrible against Newcastle. I think was playing in the blue kit or something. Terrible game. Killed for it. Ironically, I was happy for him because it's ironic he signed for Newcastle because a couple of years later, I remember when him and Smith-Rowe started and Ceballos, everyone liked his rattling. He played well there, but I've seen them kill him. Now they're saying this. Look at Aaron Ramsey. It's not where you start, it's where you finish, bro. But certain Arsenal fans were crying that he left. I remember when Aaron Ramsey used to get slaughtered. in the Arsenal shirt. You used to see it at the Emirates, my guy. Just, and girls out there listening, you used to see it, people. Live, oh. So yeah, man. Where we at for that as well, man? Let me see. You lot are talking about the voting. Let me go into the stream manager. Apparently it's 50-50. Fair play. Big up you lot. One love to everybody tuned in as well. Make sure you're following and subscribing and all those good things on YouTube and Twitch. And obviously, again, if you haven't known, 6 p.m. here with Mo. Think he's got half an hour. He's a busy man. We'll be here to speak Arsenal again. But Emil asked for it, so I don't think the pressure will get to him. I hear you, S, and that's what I want to see. You know, internally, if you don't put pressure on yourself, you're good. But reality is he's Arsenal. You know, Arsenal are 8th, but we're one of the most, you know, everyone's talking about us. You know, there's a lot of talking. There's only so much pressure you can avoid. I hope and I like it that he's accepted it, man. Ozil's got to be salty, throws him out and gave the 10 to this you. Nah, man. Hope not. DG, do you think we'll see Lokonga and Xhaka or El Nene Xhaka tomorrow? I hope Lokonga Xhaka, but it wouldn't surprise me if we resort to El Nene Xhaka. I think it should be Lokonga. I hope it is, but you never know, man. We might see that. We might see a Bamian on the left. Same old, same old. Do you use Chrome or StreamYard? Do you use Chrome for StreamYard? Yeah. Brave. I try to use the Brave thing with acting. Oh, Jorginho was booed just 2 years ago by his own fans. They all love him, bro. These football fans, they love you conditionally, innit? That's why I always say mentality. Because for me, I would love the fans, but you can't really rely on that, man. It's conditional. Nowadays, the numbers don't really matter. If you do the job, man. I don't agree with this pressure thing. Now's the time for players like Smith-Rowe to make a name for himself. Regardless, he has to make a name for himself. Or you keep doing what you're doing, keep improving, keep that hunger. Things take care of themselves. I see Maddis as the best right now, but close to his peak, whereas Aouar could reach the levels of Kevin De Bruyne or Gundogan in 3 to 5 years, in my opinion. Well, not sure. I really don't know, but just get either player in, bro. Let's get either one in, man. We're begging for something, man, because what we're dealing with at the Emirates right now, it's dire, man. It's the nicest way to put it. I remember watching Arsenal. Was saying too much creativity. There's way too much. We've got too much creativity. We need some players that are a bit more basic. Now we've just got too many basic players amongst other things as well. So it's, pardon me, it's a bit of a mazza, but it's the life we live in it. I love Basuma, but I can't see us making a significant investment in a 6/8 right now that Xhaka has signed an extension, allegedly. I think we'll bring in Odegaard and a backup keeper, hopefully not Ramsdale. I think that's us and done, which is scary. Gonna try and troubleshoot the OBS virtual cam. Appreciate that, man. One love for that. My guy, Sky to Rush. Tech, man. But I think we had a better chance of signing Maddison if the 10 was available. I was hoping that the 10 couple numbers were available. I was hoping that they were kept there, but boy. Why aren't there many clubs in Ferrara? Are there personality concerns because 25 million seems like a steal based on ability? Probably, or maybe there's just other variables. It's like, can Barca afford to sign players? Juventus still look like they're getting Pjanic back. PSG, they were linked with him. You hear more links to Camavinga and Pogba. Real Madrid, do they have the capacity to also do that? I know there's Bayern Munich and Atletico, but you've heard next to nothing. Chelsea, he'd have a good time, but it doesn't look like they're looking for midfielders. City, he was name dropped by by Pep, apologies. You know, brought in Grealish. Don't know what they're saying. United don't know what they're saying. Ain't seen the links. Anything can happen. Maybe there's other business elsewhere. Maybe there's something we don't know in the footballing world, or maybe people are waiting, man. Not sure at all, man. Midfielders like Jorginho are never going to thrive in England or be accepted. And they are going to, what I mean by thrive is be accepted because they're not getting mad goals and mad assists. Now, at the role of being a midfielder, Jorginho is better than Bruno Fernandes. You ask the football fans who don't know ball who is the better midfielder, they're going to say Bruno because he's doing that. Where you saw, you know, obviously there's different variables, but you saw quickly the minute they dropped Bruno for Portugal, they started moving better. Jorginho, you saw his influence. And obviously, Bruno is better at goal scoring. They're two different sorts of midfielders, but you get the point. Barca are in the mud, still can't register new signings. There you have it, man. Watch us go for Aouar next season when his price tag doubles. Trust. Fair play, man. Interesting comments, man. It's a shame, though. Other things have we got? Lots of clubs in transitional periods. And obviously, it's like, it's not that Aouar's not a bad player, but like, does he significantly improve a lot of these clubs that he could go to? It's like, you've got 25 million, you've got to kind of watch it. I don't understand why Arsenal haven't grabbed it. I don't even understand why United didn't grab that as well, because I think they need a next man like that. And I think United personally need a number 6. I think the quicker they can decrease the reliance on Fred and McTominay and just have them as squad players, the more that can thrive. I know a lot of that hinges on what's going on with Mr. Paul Pogba. One thing Arteta was right about, though, it is starting to, the market's starting to, I don't want to say pick up pace, but quote unquote pick up pace. Yeah, right. He's right in that regard. What are your thoughts on the state of La Liga at the moment? Alex is sad, bro. Alex Tim is sad, bro. Sad, bro. Like, obviously, they'll bounce back. Them and they are not going to let it mad, but you ain't got Ronaldo. You ain't got Messi. You know, El Clasico, we're going to watch it, but it's not what it's not what it is again, you know. There's talk of them sponsors getting involved. Is it CVC or CVS or, you know, VVS? That's Diamonds or whatever it was. They're trying to put some P's. The clubs are not happy with it. You know, I'd say only Atletico are laughing. They look like they could win the title again. Now, I think Madrid will bounce back. And as broke as they might be, there's still talk of next season Haaland and Mbappe. So something's getting manipulated. But it's sad, man. It's absolutely sad. It's sad. I do find it funny, Barca crying about players being tapped up. As an Arsenal fan, I remember how they tapped up Cesc Fabregas. I find it quite funny, you know, and they are saying it's disrespectful, but fair play. Barca deserved it, and I think it's an L for La Liga, because I can't, like, let's be real, like, if Messi's to leave, you know, I'm sure the La Liga chairman must have called the Barca chairman and said, is this thing serious? What's going on there? It's a shame, but it's been coming for Barcelona. It's been coming, man. And Real Madrid. Well, Real Madrid, some mazza, bro. Like, to know that you're selling, because when you heard Ramos is gone, Varane's going, you would have thought, all right, cool. Paul Torres, Conde, whoever these centre halves in, there's a rebuild. Then you're like, right, it's not even happening. Barca can't do proper accounting, and their talent dons can't make the right decisions, man. Facts. And they were moving mad the first two, the early 2000s. Man, just saying 888 Sport, you're moving mad. Washed though, man. You was just moving blessed. See how you change up the thing. The chickens have come home to roost, and I'm here for it, bro. I'm happy for that. The way Barcelona used to tap up our players, Van Persie sent off for no reason, cheated in 2006. I love Barcelona, the club, but they're move mad. Leon have an incredible midfield. Aouar, Cherki, Kakare, Guimarães, Palqueta. Any of those guys would walk into our midfield right now. I mean, not sure when you came on my aware of my talent, my video and things like that. But I've always spoke about the talented Kakare. Guimarães is a good player. You know me, I love Cherki, but that one day is gone. It's not going to happen. Aouar is a baller as well, man. Yeah, Militao stepped up. He's done his thing. But again, who are the guys at Madrid? Nobody strikes fear again. Not going to lie, I'm still salty about them stealing Dino from under our noses in the Champions League defeats. I ain't going to lie, when they bucked you in Rome and they bucked you in Thingy, it was beautiful to watch, man. It was a beautiful game. It was a beautiful game in Wembley. And I just remember the one in Rome, it was good to see English media silenced. It weren't really a United thing. There was all of this Messi. Around them times, they were saying Messi can't do it against English teams, this and that. And he out-jumped Rio Ferdinand for a header. Shut up. The boss, you see the one in Wembley? That I don't think. I'm sure if you speak to Ferguson, he probably will say, "I'll do things tactically again and whatever." I just think that one there was destiny. You know, the way you hear Pep talking about pre-game, it weren't really a tactics thing. He's never seen the players so. He might be gassing it, but he's never seen the players so calm. You know, he's never seen the players so calm and all them things there. They knew what was happening. They just said they're gonna go out and enjoy it. That one there was just destiny, you know. Dani Alves, Pedro at the time, Lionel Messi needs no introduction. It's a madness. I can't lie, with Messi gone, Griezmann has room to do what he did at Atletico now that he's the main guy. Bearman will grow. Like, you know, at Madrid and Barca, as we said before, your ability to coexist with them players there, Messi and Ronaldo, historically, was what made the difference between you having a good future. Look at Benzema. He's a great player, but he adapted. That's why he's had that Madrid career. Equally, I'm sure there's many of players that failed. You know, I won't say Alexis failed at Barcelona, but literally, if you go and watch the games, he's not going to get into certain areas because Messi's there. Neymar was able to adapt, you know. People are going to have to adapt to Messi. And you're right. People have scope to grow now, whether that's Griezmann, Coutinho, Dembele, whatever. You know, you're right on that. That's what typically happens, man. You see that in Sunday League. How many times when one player or someone who's a bit, or even in school, you know, didn't you used to play for teams or play for a team? They might get ripped, you know, and then one player might leave and that team starts playing a bit better. It's crazy, man. In 09, we didn't give a good account of ourselves and was pissed. In 011, I didn't even expect to get to that final and they fully deserved it. Fair play. Do you think Arsenal will get back into Europa? Bro, based on what I'm seeing, consistency is king in it. I don't know what I'm getting from 5 games or 2 games. So I don't know, because I know if you want top 4 or you want Europa or you want to have a good season, whatever your tasks are, you need to be consistent. I need to know whether you beat City, you know, because let's just say we could lose to Brentford, beat Chelsea, beat City, and then F up the next 2 games, or we could lose all of them. And you get it, we're a very bipolar team. You know, we could beat City and then mess it up against Norwich and all of these things. And that's the beauty of the Premier League. But then we do that more often. And for me, Arsenal defeat themselves. And I say this is because we could play City right now. Way before I talk about how good them technical players are, or how good technically they are, I know I'm going to sit here and say that player switched off, this player switched off, we didn't start this, we didn't do that, we didn't do the other. So there's an issue. Did you do a show with rants today? Unfortunately not. I didn't have time. From 1 to 2, I was busy, my guy. So yeah, that was them man's thing. So no. You're back again next week. Normal service resumed. That's why PSG will be interested in Mbappe. Gonna have to humble himself. For me, at least a year under Messi in it. The best player ever on your doorstep, and you want to be the best player ever. You're gonna be, you and Haaland, one of the best players ever, and you know Pedri will be up there in my opinion. But who better to learn from? You know, you might. I don't think you're gonna eclipse him, but you know, I'm pretty sure Messi soaked up all of what Ronaldinho had to offer in terms of knowledge, and then did his thing. So I mean, we all watch Messi, but we don't watch Messi. We don't know what he does or doesn't do in training. We don't know how he eats. We don't know, you know, what sort of recovery he does. We don't know just how he thinks at football, which could change your mind. So I think, you know, I understand if he wants to go because I think he's achieved all he can in France. I think he's done it the right way. I think he's now ready to go to the Spains and just another league. Whether finances and the environment permit is another thing. And I think he needs to go somewhere where he's the main man now, because he's not really the main man for France. He is, but he's in a star-studded lineup. Monaco, he was the main. He was a young guy. They had a couple other guys as well. He was obviously the star man, but you get the point. PSG, he is one of the star boys with Neymar, but yeah, man. Do you think Willock will thrive under Steve Bruce? Yeah, because he's going to play him, and the way I believe Newcastle play him benefits him, but it all depends in relation to Joe, because, you know, you need to see, can you do it same way Smith-Rowe? You did it for half a year. Can you do it for the whole season now? And there's going to be natural dips, just like Joe. Can you do it for the whole year? It's one of them ones. Can you show that you can do it consistently? Only time will tell, man. I think City will walk the Prem again, to be fair. To be honest, I'd rather City win it out of everyone. I don't know no City fans like that, but yeah, man, why not? MSN to MNN. Suarez is clear of Mbappe. I hear that, my guy. You can't aim for Champions League without Europa, but for me, you aim for Champions League, you fall into Europa. If that happens, you aim for that. Because we're already complacent. I don't want to hear the Europa League team. You get. A man said Matisse and Rant show was epic. Rants was smoking an Oli pack for 45 minutes. We miss you, DG. I'll be back soon, man. Big up everyone that was locked. Why was he on to Oli though? What's Oli done in the last couple figures? Do Arsenal have a buyback clause on Willock? Not to my knowledge. Is Arteta still the manager on January 1st? Well, if you F about, you might not be. I love Mbappe and I agree. Excluding Messi. So it is what it is. But I can't lie, people. I'm going to have to take a short break. Like I said, I'm going to be back again on 6 p.m. Is there a way for the mods to set a reminder for people? Because like I said, I'm back here with Mo for about 30 minutes or so. at 6 p.m. So I'm going to love or leave you right now. Big up to everyone who's been part of this live stream and who's been part of the last 2 live streams. 3 if you encounter the other one on YouTube. Please make sure you're following, you're subscribing, you're doing all those sort of things, people. And yeah, man, I'll catch you lot in a bit, man. On that note, though, I'm out. Like I said, 6 p.m. today, I'm back on Twitch again. So make sure you're setting your reminders and things.
Against this right back, Charlie.